There is a strange cruelty to being perfectly, aggressively ordinary. It is an invisible problem, largely because society refuses to acknowledge it as one. If you are extremely attractive, the world notices. Doors open, and strangers are kinder for reasons they pretend are personality-based. If you are considered very unattractive, society can be openly cruel and dismissive. But if you fall right in the middle, you receive the polite forgetfulness of a room. You are a face that blends in like furniture with a pulse. Look at this scale. On one side, we place the things society claims matter most, personality and kindness. But on the other side sits a hidden, heavier weight, the halo effect. This is a cognitive bias where human beings automatically assign virtues like competence and trustworthiness to someone simply because they have good bone structure. People constantly repeat the lie that looks do not matter, while behaving exactly as if they do. This flowchart shows exactly how that bias plays out in real time. Take a neutral trait, like awkwardness. If you are highly attractive, your awkwardness flows down the pathway labeled charming or mysterious. But if you are average-looking, that exact same input routes straight to boredom or weird. Your confidence has to be carefully measured because too much looks delusional and too little makes you disappear completely. Being average does not disqualify you from social life. You are absolutely allowed in the room. You simply operate at a baseline deficit of social capital. The spotlight passes over you, checks its notes, and moves on to someone else. You are rarely automatically chosen. This deficit becomes brutally obvious in the modern dating marketplace. Dating apps force a massive compression of human complexity. A profile turns your entire existence into a tiny visual advertisement. A few photos, a bio, and maybe a picture with a dog borrowed for emotional support. In real life, attraction takes time. You can build it through the tone of your voice, your timing, your warmth, and chemistry. But online, the face and body go first. The system forces a split-second decision before you ever get a chance to prove your worth. This conversion funnel visualizes exactly how dating turns into a mathematical rejection at scale. Thousands of possible connections drop into the top, but the algorithm creates a violent bottleneck at the very first gate: jawlines and facial symmetry. If your features do not immediately pass this visual filter, you are passed over in silence. So you start an optimization arms race. You chase better lighting, better angles, and sharper clothes, trying to solve your own face like a corporate conversion problem. An average-looking person can absolutely find love, but securing that initial spark of attention requires a disproportionate, exhausting expenditure of effort. The beautiful are interesting before speaking. You have to provide an evidence file. Because external validation is not handed to you continuously, compliments operate on a scarcity mechanic. A casual remark about your hair becomes a rare weather event that your brain files away for years. But that same scarcity means a careless insult or a terrible photo can ruin your mood for days, because there is no constant stream of praise to dilute the damage. To survive this, you develop compensatory mechanics. If your appearance does not instantly command a room, your other qualities must arrive earlier. You learn to be incredibly funny, relentlessly competent, or impeccably dressed. Self-improvement begins as a quiet apology for not being visually striking. Your personality evolves into a survival skill. Humor becomes armor. Style becomes strategy. Confidence turns into a high-wire performance you have to consciously maintain every single day, just to prevent fading into the background. This is why the advice to just be confident is incredibly unhelpful. Confidence is easy when reality keeps handing you hard evidence, smiles, attention, and positive assumptions. When the world continuously gives you mixed, inconsistent feedback, building internal confidence feels like trying to win over a jury while the prosecution has professional headshots. You exist in a contradiction, socially plausible but instantly forgettable. You might be the most fascinating person in the room after 10 minutes of conversation. The structural disadvantage is that you are trying to secure 10 minutes from people conditioned to make 2-second snap judgments. Look at this split screen. On the left, exceptional beauty acts as an all-access VIP pass. On the right, the average person carries a battered punch card, paying the personality tax just to stay in the room. Understanding how rigged this game is does not free you from it. You can see the cage perfectly, but the system still ranks you, and the tax still comes due. Social media mathematically destroyed the meaning of average. Your comparison pool is no longer your local neighborhood or your workplace. It is a dizzying, endless feed of highly curated, hyper-aesthetic, flawlessly lit extremes. This bell curve illustrates what happened. Your face did not actually change. Instead, the right tail of the curve artificially swells with people who have expensive genetics, perfect lighting, and surgical enhancements. The center median line is physically pushed so far to the left that the old definition of normal is now categorized as defective. If we track your daily experience on that new scale, we get this jagged graph, the fragility index. When you are average-looking, a good appearance day feels magical, but incredibly unstable. You catch a glimpse of yourself and think, not bad. Then your confidence plummets at the slightest environmental variable. A single tagged photo, a bad camera angle, or hostile fluorescent lighting in a store window instantly shatters the illusion. The self-improvement industry thrives on this exact instability. It sells the illusion that permanent, unshakable confidence is always just one more purchase away. Better skin creams, sharper haircuts, expensive dental work. You can continuously polish your appearance, but you cannot outpurchase your own bone structure. And then, aging introduces a secondary penalty. If you were never strongly advantaged by beauty, losing your youth feels like losing the one universal, softening benefit you actually had. As your face and body change, society piles on aggressive new maintenance pressures just to help you desperately cling to the middle. The multi-billion-dollar beauty and self-improvement markets are perfectly engineered to exploit this infinite loop. They do not want you to find peace. They want your insecurity to become a lifelong, highly profitable subscription. At the heart of all this exhaustion is a very simple, very human wish. Sometimes you just want to be chosen effortlessly. You want someone to look at you and feel genuine desire before you start performing, before the jokes, before the outfit strategy, and before you present a massive portfolio proving your worth. The only real relief comes from stepping completely away from the ranking system. This does not mean clinging to the useless lie that looks do not matter. They do. But you have to refuse to let appearance be the courtroom where your entire value is put on trial. Accepting this is not a defeat. Look at this face, unfiltered, calm. Being average is quite literally the statistical baseline of humanity. It is normal. The beauty economy spends billions trying to convince you that normal is a defect that needs to be cured. It is not. The actual failure lies in a culture addicted to treating exceptional surfaces as the standard. True freedom is walking away from the mirror. It is building a life filled with taste, skill, humor, and people who will pay you for longer than a first glance. You have to learn that being ordinary is not and never will be the same thing as being unworthy.